If I decided to have children again, I would never raise another child in this country, Canada, because of what they're teaching them in the schools. YouTube family, it's me again, the one and only Jamken. The topic I'll be discussing today is the real reason why I choose to leave Canada. I've discussed one of my previous topics, the dark side of Canada. And I've done it in a comical way to deal with the insanity I have been seeing in this country over the years. However, today, I will discuss it in a more concise and formal manner so you can be able to partake, drop your discussion, and relate to what I am going through. Number one on the topic today will be the cost of living. People, the cost of living has gone through the roof. What you would spend on grocery maybe a year and a half ago is twice today. Number two is the lack of respect. No matter how much I dress as a black male, and no matter how law-abiding I am, I still get no respect, even from my own black woman. Furthermore, we do not have a cohesive black community that looks out for each other. In fact, individually, many of us are doing great. Collectively, economically and politically speaking, we're still at the bottom of the barrel. And number three, I will discuss the leadership, the government. People, I have been here for over 30 years. I've seen many leaders come and many leaders go. But since 2015, when we've elected this new liberal government under Justin Trudeau, the values and the standards and morals have gone to the pits. And those are the reasons, people, why I chose to go and live somewhere where I can get some peace and sanity. But before we go into the video, please like, share, and subscribe. When was the last time you've been to the supermarket? A year and a half ago, I could spend 150 Canadian dollars and buy a good amount of grocery. Now I spend twice the amount for the same amount of products. I've been doing my own investigation. And what I realize a lot of these food companies are doing, they're creating less grams, smaller packages of the products and charging you more. I used to love French vanilla. And now when I look at the French vanilla compared to back then, the French vanilla, when you pour it out, it is like water. Back then, it was thicker and they're charging you more. People, it seems like there's no regulation on the prices of food anymore. And for that reason, people, for me who likes my fried plantain, my bananas, my yam, my cabbage, my callaloo, my simple basic organic food, here it's way expensive and the processed food is getting very expensive also. So when I retire, which will be very soon, my money will go away further somewhere else so I can get the right food I need. If you're watching news lately, property taxes have gone up over 10.5% in Toronto. How the hell people on fixed income will be able to afford that? That is very expensive. And houses, oh my God, to buy an average house in Toronto is costing you over $1 million. Rental for a one bedroom is hitting you for $1,800 up to about $2,500 for a two bedroom. How in God's name we gonna survive?
So I live in Ontario, and I need someone to tell me the pros and cons of living in America, because at this point, Canada just ain't it. It's just like not it anymore. Like the cost of living, it's too much. The wages are staying the same. I can't afford to move out. I'm 24 and I'm embarrassed that I can't move out. I can't leave my toxic household. So what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? What are the pros and cons of living in America? And everyone's like, oh, Canada's so great, this and that. It's not anymore. Free healthcare. You know how long it takes to see a mental health professional in Canada? A year. Dermatologist? A year. I might as well pay for private healthcare. The wait list is so long. Like, you don't even get the adequate help that you need. So where do we go at this point? Where are we supposed to live? Where can I live in a place where I'm able to enjoy my life as well? Because I'm not enjoying it here. I feel so utterly stuck. I don't know what to do anymore. You go to school, you get a degree, and you're still not guaranteed a job. $60K a year? That used to be like a decent amount of money. Not anymore. So where do we go?
Now, here's my issue. Canada is the second largest land mass on the planet. Russia is number one, Canada is number two. Canada only has 40 million people. It is highly underpopulated. Therefore, although it's expensive, I know they can create more affordable income across this great land that will allow the average person to afford a home. However, one of the reasons why these house prices are going through the roof, simply supply and demand, but also you have corporate investors like, Vanguard, BlackRock, and those companies are started buying up residential properties. So that's forcing the prices to go up. So those are some of the reasons why I am leaving Canada. Every year, CPP, the Canada Pension Plan, the deduction from your income goes up every year. The government is taking more out of your income, putting a Canada Pension Plan that will not be able to give you enough money to live off when you retirement. So it's like they're taking out the money and pour it into a black hole. This is why I say, if you don't take care of your investments and retirement, God help you. Another thing you got to realize, while the cost of living for goods are going up, and I will do a video, I'm going to go to the supermarket and I will do a video on the cost of basic foods. While the cost of everything is going up, our income is not moving. It is not moving up. And if it does move up, it moves up to pennies. In the meantime, corporate CEO is making 246 or 250 times what the average worker makes. People, I love capitalism, but sometimes this capitalism has no conscience. And because of that, people, for me to get headaches and worry about all of this, why not just move along? I have lived in this country for over 30 years. And people, I have yet to see a thriving black neighborhood. I have seen many blacks who are doing successfully individually, but collectively, we're at the bottom of the barrel. For me, every income I earn and everything I consume goes to another community. How can we ever become successful or affluent if everything we spend goes into the Chinese, the Indian, the Jewish, and the white community? We do not have a community. We do not have schools. We do not have a hospital. We don't have grocery stores. And we don't have banks. Those are the institutions that build a community. Yes, without a doubt, people, I know racism has caused that problem where we do not get land for the foundation and banks never loaned us money. However, what we have going on for us in this land for so many years, decades over decades, is the church. And people, the church doesn't have enough money or social or political power to make concrete changes. In fact, the churches are divided via denomination, similar the way we are divided. As the good book says, a nation or people divided amongst themselves can never stand. So if we're divided spiritually, do you believe we will ever be united economically or politically? Now look at the LGBTQ plus community. They are different acronyms and different lifestyles. But look what they do. They unite together for one cause and force governments to basically take attention or push their agenda. We don't have a black community, pardon me. We don't. Now, because of that, we have no economic and no political power. I have been here over 30-something years, and we've been here before all the other groups except from the whites and the aboriginals. But if you look at us, competing with the Indians, the Sri Lankans, the Koreans, the Japanese, every other group are beating us by miles. People, this is sad. This is very sad. I have seen it for many years. And they said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. It doesn't work. We cannot pray it away. We need to do something. But because we are divided mentally, spiritually, and economically, we cannot accomplish a thing. And that leaves us weak. And at my age, I've come to realize that, that's a losing battle, and I ain't gonna fight that. Because of such disdain on us people, we're not respected. For me, I considered myself a decent black male. I have no criminal record, never had any. And I carry myself with distinction. And I believe I have some brains. But if I look at a sister or say hi to a sister, the first thing comes into our subconscious, the brother want to make a move. And people, I don't want to make no move. I just want to reason with the sister from here. But because many times the sister and all of the groups are programmed through the media that only broadcast things about us is criminality, player games, no respect, angry, brutish, and committing crime. Because that's what the media cycles almost every week. They build up what you call an implicit bias. And that implicit bias is basically a subconscious that when they see us, the only thing they see about us, he gonna make a move on us. And that is why you see people, when a black male will sit in public transit, no one will sit beside them. It happens to me. People, the only thing we men want is respect. And for me, treat me with respect. Don't judge me based on my hue anymore, because I have no control. And because I've realized that society is not changing people, I cannot fight. So what I do, it's best for me to leave and go somewhere where it can be respected for my merits and the contents of my character instead of my pigmentation. I have learned over the years, one of the most powerful ways you can control people is to divide and rule. But also is to allow them to hate each other and themselves. And if you ever read or studied Willie Lynch's thesis of the making of a slave, you've realized that after about 160 years of Emancipation Proclamation, our condition as a people cannot get any better. We're still at the bottom of the barrel. No matter how much you see us, we're jumping up and praising God. People, we don't trust each other. And all the other communities that are doing well, they're all built in trust. And if we don't trust each other, if my brothers be fearful of me, and if my sister is fearful of me, and if we're singing praises to God and we don't trust each other, how can we build a community? Yes, we're doing well individually, but we're suffering collectively. And for that reason, people, I am moving on. I will not fight a losing battle. Like I've said before, people, I have lived in this country for over 30 years. I came here when Brian Mulrooney was the leader, Jean Chrétien took over, Paul Martin, Kim Campbell, then Stephen Harper, and now we have Justin Trudeau. Canada was a place that was admired for its kindness and to be a mediator in international conflict. Canada used to send medicines and blankets and food and never take sides in conflict. Now, Canada, under this Liberal government, is sending weapons, tanks, and money to inflame conflict instead of trying to find a peaceful solution to quell the conflict. And that, people, has made me look at Canada not a place for peace and security, but as a place has become more vitriol and bellicose towards instigating conflict. Since 2015, we have Justin Trudeau as our leader. And if we should listen to Justin Trudeau on any one of his speeches where he's given condolences, he would never say, "My thoughts and prayers are with the victims." He would normally say, "My thoughts and my heart is with the victim." He would never say, "God bless Canada." And for those reasons, it confirms to me that this man has no belief in God. So therefore, he does not have a moral compass. I believe, just like how a person cannot get their driver's license until they reach maybe say 16 or 21, they cannot drink alcohol or go to the store to buy alcohol at that particular same age. The reason is they're not developed enough to make rational and informed decisions. Therefore, if we agree on that, then why is it in the school we're pushing the new sexual agenda, the non-binary, whether you're a male or a female? Why the government don't allow the child or the children per se to make that decision when they get to age maybe 18 or 21, when they're fully developed enough to understand what they're doing? We know that the formative years of any human being are the most impressionable and more vulnerable time in their life, because whatever they're impacted and taught during those age is what gonna shape their destiny. So therefore, if we know that, why is it the government allow them to push this alternative lifestyle in the school, knowing well that when the child picks it up, the child will not change? For me, personally speaking, if I decided to have children again, I would never raise another child in this country, Canada, because of what they're teaching them in the schools. The values have fallen, the morals have fallen, the discipline have fallen. And as a new immigrant, if you come here, remember, you're going to bring a child with certain standards, but by the child reach university or college days, it's a different human being. I remembered my professor, great man, Dr. Ronald Blake, the one who found Higher Marks School. He said to me, "Richard, don't you ever raise your child in the public school or the high school in Canada." I've done the research, but I knew why he said it. Because he said if you raise the child, especially a black male, you will lose him here. And those are the reasons why I do not admire, appreciate, and accept what the government is doing. For me, I cannot fight the government. I don't want to fight the government. So it makes sense for me to just leave. In America, you would hear some politicians talk about the deep state. And for me, people, without a doubt, I believe there are always puppet masters behind the scenes, powerful people who dictate policies. And for instance, we see George Bush went in the White House and a war happened. We see Obama went in there and he pushed the LGBTQ agenda. And then we see Trump went there and Trump was uncontrollable. They didn't like him because they couldn't control him. He had not created any wars when he was in power. And since Biden went in there, we see the war machine start to power up again. That tells me that it seems like when they get in there, there's an agenda that someone tells them or a group of people tell them that they must follow. And for me, people have been digging. And what I've realized that surprised me to realize that this man, Klaus Schwab, he said in his own words, he controlled the Canadian Parliament. Now, I don't know how true that is, but if he said it, then quite frankly, it might be true.
But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, so that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now.
Now you kind of get the idea, people. Now, Trump running mate, Vivek, almost said the same thing about Justin Trudeau, that he's controlled.
You mentioned Trudeau in your remarks. You mentioned him again now. What do you make of the man? He's been in power for 8 years now, even though he has a minority government. He's got a coalition. Is he a cautionary tale for Americans? I don't think Americans follow Canadian politics too closely. What should an American know about Justin Trudeau?
This is a preview of coming attractions. I use that sarcastically, unless we course correct here. He's like a Klaus Schwab Jr., sort of a Klaus Schwab disciple. And I think that he is somebody who is a useful puppet. I mean, it's not that this guy is some sort of shining intellect that is somehow a visionary in his own right. He's not. He's a pawn for a managerial class, both within and outside of Canada, that uses people like him as a pawn to advance a transnational globalist agenda that has a single hegemonic view that is fundamentally skeptical of self-governance, does not believe in people's ability to govern themselves, believes in a worldview where people need to be told what the right way is or isn't to live by a small group of aristocratic elites in the back of palace halls. That was the old world European view. It's what's alive and well in Canada, unfortunately, today. And the idea that Trudeau's actually the guy calling the shots is a joke. He's just a puppet, a pawn for that deeper, what I would call permanent state. And I think that much similar to the United States, I think that that's a big part of what you're seeing happening in Canada now as well.
Last but not least, because I don't want to go too long on this, is that what I see our Liberal government did during the lockdown, by forcing so many people to take a vaccine without any opposition. A lot of people retired, a lot of people quit their jobs, a lot of people's life got uprooted because under a liberal government in a democratic society, they didn't have a choice over their body. And that, for me, people, is dangerous. That is not democracy for me. That is tyranny. And those are the real reasons why I'm leaving this great country. But before I finish the video, I want to throw caution to you. Canada plans to take in about 100 million immigrants by the turn of the century, meaning that the economy will grow whether we're alive or not. So I would not advise any one of you watching this to root up everything and say you're going to pack up and leave. No, leave some investments in this country. The reason why I'm leaving, one, I am retired. Number two, my dollar goes further. Number three, I need to get away from a lot of things that affects my mental health. I need the sunshine, and I need a new thinking and a new environment that people can treat me with respect. And most importantly, I'm getting away from the cold winter people. On that note, thank you for listening to my rant. I hope this video has been quite informative. And people, I will keep dropping you more. In the meantime, you know the usual. Please give me some love. See you in the next video.